Good evening. Today is Tuesday, June 10th, 2025, and I have the privilege and honor to interview today Angela Bibb, a retired United States Air Force service member. She started her career with the United States Air Force after graduating from high school right next door here.
Yes.
Right? Westminster High School, class of 1989, and then started her career with the United States Air Force in 1990, retiring in 2010. She was a 4AO, that was your MOS, with the Air Force, which was specializing in health service management.
Yes.
Which she's also now in that same career field with SSA, which we'll follow in a little bit. She's also a 2020 graduate of the University of Maryland, also in health services management.
Yes.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for your time today. So let's start off with the reason why you enlisted in the United States Air Force. What motivated you to join the United States Air Force?
I was thinking about that on the drive here today, and I think we had a lot of, growing up in this area, we had a lot of parades and a lot of veteran activities in general, and we're close. We had field trips to Washington, D.C., and we had field trips to Baltimore, so we were close to a lot of metropolitan areas, and I knew there were opportunities out there, but I think being involved in the parades and having so much military in my family gave me a sense of pride and nostalgia and all that, for being proud of the military. Before I even went to it, my first experience with the military is my brother was in the service, and he was in Alconbury, England. And I visited in 1989 Alconbury, England, and saw the way of life and just fell in love with it because I was civilian. And I was walking around, just graduated high school, and looking at everything on base and all the opportunities. And then I talked to people about education because I really didn't plan well as far as college, and I wanted to make sure I got college into my agenda. So while I was there, I looked into it a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? This just keeps everything I asked the military as a civilian just keeps getting better and better. You mean to tell me I can get free college? I have free medical. I have free housing. I travel the world. Where's the bad side? And I just locally, I think that would help people here that don't know what they're going to do. Just look into it. Ask questions. You can Google stuff nowadays, and just ask maybe someone that's been in that how to go in and talk to. Don't go alone. Go in with someone that has been in the military when you go to your recruiter's office, so you don't sign anything early or anything, but have a career in mind and say you like dental. Go in as a dental career field, and it's a great opportunity.
Why did you choose health services management, particularly, to peel back on that question? Your response.
I say go in with someone because I didn't, and I went in general, and the Air Force picked it for me. Luckily, I got a good career field. I could have been anything, they could have put me anywhere as general. So I'm just trying to save other kids that go in, just make sure you have someone with you, and if you want to be, say, you want to fly airplanes or something, go in and try to get that guaranteed, and there you go, that type of thing.
So when the recruiter more or less directed you to this particular career field, was the I guess the sales pitch or what have you, how it was presented to you, would you say after a few years in, would you say that you had an accurate picture?
Yes.
So
they did give me an accurate picture, and I ended up liking what I did. At first, I was working with a lot of records, inpatient, outpatient, and then it just got more degrees level of higher service, like different types of areas in the hospital that were more in depth, like working with the money and the actual budget, or working with readiness and deployments, and it just went on and on. The list just goes on and on. Aerovac, all kinds of exciting stuff. So I fell in love with it, and just stayed 20 years. I can't say enough about it. It's good.
So when you say that you can't say enough about it, could you tell me, in your mind, looking back over 20 years from 1990 through 2010, is there one particular experience that you had that you're particularly proud of that maybe you would welcome the opportunity to share with the Carroll County community?
Yeah, my deployment, I only had one. I know a lot of people go on deployments a lot more than me, but I only had one, and it was close to my retirement time. And it was in the desert, but it was an easy part. It wasn't in any action area. But we did have, it was on CNN, so it's not top secret or anything. We did have a plane explode on the flight line. And to kind of go back, I trained for that kind of thing to happen like once a month for almost all the time before that. And it was at the end of my career, so of course I had trained for emergencies, stuff like that. And basically I was the head of a patient admin team, which is all medical paperwork, so I was not in the action part. But I should say nobody got hurt. I should have said that right away. But it was just one of those freak accidents. It wasn't even an explosion like by somebody else. It was just happened. And so when stuff like that happens and you're in a deployed location, there's nobody to call, you kind of get your training, you use your training that they give you we did it once a month in the Air Force, but it really, things kicked in that I wouldn't think that I'd remember, but we knew we had patients coming towards us, and we just made sure everything was where it should be for the doctors and nurses, and let them do what they had to do. But it was exciting now. It was scary then, but it was like an adrenaline rush type. You were awake. It was nighttime. It was actually around dinner time when it happened. So.
Where was the AOR? The area of
Qatar.
responsibility.
Qatar.
It was in Qatar.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Qatar. Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Yeah. So, like I said, no, it wasn't from an enemy. It was just a freak incident.
We're still there.
Yeah.
What airframe was it that?
What airframe?
What airframe? What kind of aircraft was it?
It looked like more like an F-15, 16.
Oh, it was a fighter aircraft.
Fighter.
It was an F-15 Strike Eagle?
Yeah, something like that.
Or F-16 Falcon?
One or the other. I have a hard time telling those apart on the
I was just assuming it might be a larger aircraft. So
no, it was burnt. It was burnt when I saw it the next day, so that's why I can't really identify it really well. But it was definitely it was on the news. It was like on CNN. And
in your opinion, would you say the training that you received and the training of the other airmen and what have you, was the training sufficient to meet the need for that moment in time?
As you go in at first, you really don't understand why you train so much. For me, once a month, where they rolled out like how to do, different wounds, covering wounds and stuff like that, and learning that when you're doing medical admin during the day, you really don't think about why you would need that. But that at that time, when it was later in my career, and I had trained the people that were under me at that deployment, and I was so proud of them because they showed up. It was their dinner time. They showed up where they should have been. We did what we were supposed to do. Everything fell into place, and everybody in the medical group, I'd say all the teams came together, and everything worked like a well-oiled machine. It was beautiful to see now looking back, but at the time it wasn't. So,
what year? Was it 2009 this happened, or 10?
I think it was 2009, it was one of those two. I think it was 2009.
Because I'd been through both of those, because I did 4 deployments, 2 in Iraq from 2009 to 2011, then Afghanistan 11 to 12, and then I went back again in 13.
Yeah, I didn't have those experiences. But
I was just wondering, was the training sufficient to meet the need?
It was above and beyond.
Above and beyond.
Oh my goodness.
So now you realize why you train so much.
Yes, and you will train. If you go in, you will train. That's one thing you're going to have to get used to. But.
Is there anything that you would do differently looking back from that
They
experience?
asked me why I did packets of, when you had to get a lab or an x-ray, or there's certain paperwork doctors need to do doctor's orders on that's not in the computer. They asked me why when I got there, I put the packets 20 across the table and started stuffing them, and they're like, how did you know that? I'm like, because my first base taught us to be prepared.
All right.
To do that stuff, so when something happens, if they had to order something, it's right there. They just, they pick up and go. It's not something that trained for the emergency before it happened, and that's how I did my everyday in the Air Force. You know, if there's something I know that could help in an emergency, that's how we did it at that base. And they always say your first base is your best base. I agree with that. Yeah.
So the training sufficient.
Yes.
Repetitive training.
Yes.
And reinforced it.
Yes.
And it became like a muscle movement.
It did. I did not even realize how much I retained until I look back on it. And I have really good people, you know, training me at every base, you know. But
okay. So I'm not hearing anything you would do differently.
No, I would do college in the Air Force.
Oh no, I mean as far as that incident though.
With that incident, no.
That's really good to hear. But even
Yeah.
if there was something you want to do differently, then you could share that, and then the audience, the viewing audience, could also take that same exercise. What would I do differently if you?
Right.
Because
I
you
can't
learn from mistakes too. But you said
It was
looking back, it worked. The training was on spot.
Yes.
The repetitive training developed a muscle movement so that you could react
Yes.
in a positive manner
And
to meet the need at the moment in time.
And I used
And you
that.
built some confidence out of this too, correct?
Yes, of course. Yes.
And how about the other airmen?
They were
Did you
very
see
happy.
the same experience where they built confidence and they felt at the end of the day that they were pleased with the outcome?
At the beginning of our meeting together at that team that I was head of, we had training to do, and I said, I want you to read this. I'm going to go over this, but I want you to read it tonight. I want you to sign your name and date it, saying you understand it. And I think that's what made the difference, because they all went home and studied it. And they even said later, how did you know? How did you know that? And it's just, I didn't know, but, you know, just repetitive, like you said, and making sure that because they were in a deployed location, their head was at home. Some of them were doing schoolwork, after work. And so I just wanted to make sure that they knew what they had to do. And I think everybody in that med group did the same thing, and it just happened to work really well. So,
Very good.
Yeah.
I want to peel back on that last comment as far as, working together, teamwork, and friendships, relationships that you had. Were there one or two relationships, friendships you developed that were able to help you guide your career and also guide others, maybe, and then that you may also keep in touch with till this day?
At my first base, I think everybody that taught specialized training, like for my career field, I would say I remember every one of those people. And the people I worked with at my first job, which happened to be medical records at the time, when I first came in the military, I was the youngest person in the med group. So that's one thing I remember. But they all the time, were treated me like a sister, little sister, trying to guide me. You need to go to school. You need to do this. You need to, all good stuff. And so I tried to follow that myself when I had people under me. So
you did the same thing, right?
Tried to, yes.
You paid it forward.
Yes, that's how I look at it, paying it forward. And that's what I'm doing now by doing this video.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I was hoping to say that. And then what about keeping in contact with some of these folks? Any particular people you're able to keep in contact and make sure they're well and moving on in their lives and in a positive direction?
I think there are two people that are at my first base that I called when I was about to retire that are now civilians at that base that I just called and said hello to, because I couldn't believe they were still there. What are you doing here? But yeah, they have retired, and then they work at that base still, and yeah, we keep in touch every once in a while, like every 10 years, but just to see how everybody's doing, their kids, and what's going on with their kids and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Now the next question would be as far as where you are now, and how the military has influenced your career selection, prepare you for your career with SSA. So how would you say that your educational background, your career, 20-year career in the United States Air Force, prepared you and has guided you to start your career with SSA?
Let's see. With SSA, I am a disability examiner, and all the training with medical paperwork and being around the medical group has helped me have a different perspective when I know the importance of it going in. I know you don't have to explain to me why, a customer is important, because I've worked with patients for so long, and they all had different needs and levels, and I carry that knowledge of 20 years in the military with me, and I also worked in some doctor's offices before I went to SSA, and I have civilian and military experience with that, and I think that it helps me every day in my job. Just again, it's almost like the training is like a muscle, like you said. It just comes naturally, and it makes my day. I had to call customers sometimes, and I just remember talking to patients and how the same level of courtesy for everyone. So yeah.
Excellent. Now my next question is going to deal with veterans organizations like the American Legion, the VFW, the Carroll County Veterans Independence Project, the DAV, what have you. And you live in Eldersburg. Of course, Eldersburg has an American Legion, which is actually physically located adjacent to the land that will be used to build the newest veterans old folks home. Because now we only have one, right? So there's what I'm saying that. So we have one that's still standing and still in operation, and tremendous care that's being provided down at Charlotte Hall.
Okay.
We had another one that closed back in 1932. Was the old Maryland Line Confederate Soldiers Home in Pikesville, which is where I grew up.
Okay.
And that was across the street, right down the street from my old family farm on Ricestown Road, as a matter of fact. But that closed. The last two residents were moved out of the old Confederate home to private housing, and it's now part of the Maryland State Police Barracks. So it's a beautiful building, really is something special. So we're going to build one there in Eldersburg soon. They're supposed to break ground in about 2 years. So now, as far as like we have the American Legion Post 31 right here on Sycamore and Green Street, 2 Sycamore Street, and then on Pool Road we also have the VFW Post 467. So I'm hoping to hear that you attend. I haven't seen you there, and we need to see more. We have to be honest. We need to see more women come out to visit and be involved. So are you currently affiliated with the American Legion or VFW or the DAV or?
I am in the St. John's Catholic War Veterans, and they meet at the American Legion all the time. Now, I haven't gone to a lot of their meetings because I had some health issues I was working through.
But that's at Post 31.
But that is at Post 31 in Westminster.
I'm a Catholic too, so I have been to some of their meetings.
You haven't seen me, I know.
But I need to go more often myself.
Yeah. So I will be attending that more. That's something I'm very proud of because I went to St. John's as a kid.
You went to St. John's?
So, yeah. So that's my
But you're
church.
in Eldersburg now.
So I know I go either there or to St. Joseph's in Eldersburg.
So I go to St. Joe's also, the 1045.
Oh, okay.
So
well, maybe we'll run into each other.
I'm going to look for you at the 1045. Got to tease you a little bit. So as far as the veterans benefits, veterans organizations after getting out, have you had an opportunity to go take advantage of any of the opportunities to learn about veterans benefits and medical benefits? Maybe also to take transportation into the VA down in Baltimore. Have you taken advantage of any of that?
I personally retired, so my medical is pretty much. I use the federal Blue Cross Blue Shield and TRICARE, so everything is that. So I don't need the VA for medical, but I have. Social Security Administration has a military group there that has a lot of information for us.
Good, that's good.
Through the VA, and we do a lot of volunteer. I shouldn't say I have, because again, I need to participate more. But there is a lot of VA participation with that group that goes and does stuff in Baltimore a lot and stuff like that.
Green Street.
Yeah, and so it's very. I stay more in line with that way than I would if I was just going to work and coming home, going to church, that type of thing. So
the reason I bring it up is because we are so fortunate to have the number of American Legions we have and the VFW, and there's so many interesting people that you can meet and you can share their stories. And then we also have the Carroll County Veterans Independence Project, and we have dinner on the third Thursday of every month. And we need to have more women come because there's only usually 2.
Oh, wow.
And there's 50 people
Yeah.
that are typically there, and it's usually catered by Mission Barbecue.
Okay.
Or also the American Legion also caters it, and a number of other area restaurants, and it's for free.
Right.
And there's just so many people that you can meet, and they can educate you also about opportunities. And they also have some of them have counselors for PTSD.
Yes.
And if you don't go, you're never going to know about it.
Right.
And just the friendships it's priceless. And then also that way when you go you may bump into people. When you go
Right.
down to Green Street for a VA doctor's appointment, if you go to Loch Raven, you may bump into folks down there. And they also have an old folks home there too, and most people don't realize that.
Oh, I
They have
didn't
an
know
old
that.
folks.
Yeah.
Well, that's not. That's separate from. That's just a small.
Right.
But I mean to say, as far as a large facility, there's only one right now.
Right.
Once we build this one in Sykesville, there'll be 2
That's
large
awesome.
facilities.
I'm glad to see it so close to us. Yeah.
Right, and you could live
Yeah.
there someday
Yeah.
when you're up in years and see what time. We've got about 12 minutes. Okay, very good. So let's see now. So let's see. Just kind of moving along here. What would you say as far as your years following your military service? Because now you've been out for a while. What would you say was the most important thing you learned or experience you learned from your military service that's helped you in your life post military? It could be your career. It could be in general your life following military. What would you say?
In general, I would say I'm no better than anyone else, and no one else is better than me type thing. I go by that. I live by that. I can talk to a homeless person, or I can talk to someone, high ranking in the military. The same. I treat people the same no matter what their status in life is, and I think the military taught me that, and that's a great thing. I mean, who can argue with that? That's a wonderful trait to have, and I think that most people in the military are like that. They can talk to anyone in any room in any circumstance, because you meet people from all over the country. You may work with someone from Hawaii or Tennessee, or just a variety of people, and they have all different levels of income that they were raised by, and you just meet so many fascinating people. And I think the military taught me that better than this area, because in this area you just have a small amount of people, and the military is huge. So
Are you saying that, to peel back the onion on that, are you saying that your experience with the United States Air Force has improved your ability to communicate, interpersonal skills, to work in a teaming environment, and to be able to communicate with people of all levels of education, different ethnic backgrounds,
Yes.
and different communities across the country?
yes,
More so than, say, if you had just lived in Carroll County your entire life, right?
yes, that is exactly.
So I'm hearing
right.
that correctly.
Yes,
What,
and
what about your self-confidence and your independence as an individual?
well, because I went in a year after graduation, I feel like I'm a self-starter. God help me, but no one else was there the entire time. It was just me, and I didn't have a lot of prospects. I was a cashier at Martin's in Westminster, which is now Shoppers. But the locals will get a kick out of that because, it was in high school. That was my prospect, and I didn't have any way of getting college. So I kind of look at myself as a self-starter, and I found a way. I made a way. When, there was the recruiters was right behind the Martins.
Yes.
So how easy is that? On my break one day, I just walked up and started talking to all
Right.
4 of them, or, what do you have? So, yeah.
I know the building you're talking about. It's the corner building, which is between where Martin's was, now Shoppers, and where the VFW is post 467. I went there myself
Did you?
when I was enlisted, and they wouldn't respond. So I went. I went to Baltimore first at Fort McHenry. Then I went there, and neither responded. So I ended up going down to D.C.
Wow,
And that's where I got.
you got a response.
And then finally,
Yeah.
I said, I'm
Yeah.
getting older. I can't wait. So I want to piggyback. I know we only have about 5 minutes remaining. So are there any areas that we haven't covered that you want to really spell out? And before we started the interview, you did mention there's more or less a message that you want to share with the young folks in Carroll County that might not be aware of, that you could share with us today, the message that you really want to close this interview with, that would help them make wise, intelligent decisions so they can benefit the way you did.
Yes. I had, like I said, just said nobody was helping me make this decision. And I did the research, and what you can do if you do not have college plans in your high school level and you want a good area to go into, you can enlist for 4 years if you want and see how it goes and get college, or you can, that way you're not full 20, but they do offer a 4-year enlistment, I believe, still. And you can go in and meet people, travel, see how you like your career that you pick, and give it a try. It's not permanent, so just try it. I would say if you can get in and you're under 35, if that's still the rule, and you can go. There is so much to do. There's traveling. There's meeting people, and think about if you can always come back to Westminster area. But are you going to get this opportunity if you wait till after 35 years of age? So if I can do it, anyone can do it, is the way I look at it.
Well, thank you for sharing that message. I really do appreciate it. I really am honored to be able to be the one to interview you today. So Tech Sergeant Bibb, thank you for your time today, and I hope that we'll see you at Post 31.
Oh.
And then also and also for American Legion and VFW Post 467. I hope to see you maybe this Friday.
I'll try to
for the car show.
A car show. I have to remember that.
And have dinner with us on Friday.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tech Sergeant.
It's been fun. Thank you.